The Red Dirt D&D podcast is brought to you by Pro Laser Cuts. The Oklahoma company provides pre-made and customizable design laser cut dice towers, tokens, and more, developed by a gamer for gamers, and now available to enhance your tabletop game. Pro Laser Cuts products can be found at many Oklahoma City area game stores, local events, and now available online at prolasercuts.com. That's laser and cuts with a Z, Pro Laser Cuts. And by SD Way Gaming, where dice goblins unite. Our friends at SD Way Gaming celebrate the beautiful dice players handpick for their games and splendor. SD Way Gaming has expanded to include many tabletop gaming varieties, accessories, and similar fun necessities to include a service for your dice addiction. You can shop for a variety of products at sdwaygaming.com or find SD Way Gaming on Facebook. Welcome to Red Dirt D&D. I'm Michael Cross, and I play Gideon Block, a paladin of Daga, bringing her justice to the wilds of Ritoya.
I'm Konor Shenold, and I play Konnor with a K, the Kobold Sorcerer who's finally out of the bag.
I'm Johnny Payne, and I play Zonimus Dinar, a roguish warlock controlling his fate with chaos.
I'm Kiri Hester, and I play Poppy Tealeaf, a high-born halfling druid who has forsaken her family for the call of the frontier.
I'm Brooke Bullock, and I play Mockrin Stoneshaper, a young dwarf sorcerer wielding his arcane gifts to delve into the mysteries of the wilderness.
And I'm Ash King, your dungeon master. Join us now for Tales from the Callban Frontier. You find yourselves trapped in the war room of the mesa. The door blocked by the exquisite form of Serafina, an individual who you've only heard rumors of before this. Stepping into the room, your eternal enemy, Wiley Smokes Moran. Approaching our dear, dear rogue, Zonimus, as the two of you speak about potential plans, you pointing to an area circled on the map, indicating that Wiley may be looking for the lair of the infamous Thundercrap. Gideon has just laid down his gun on the ground as per the suggestion of Serafina. Konor has just snatched the Navi crystal, skittering his way out of the room, completely unnoticed for the moment. What are the rest of you doing?
I'm not trying to hide, but I am trying to just stand close to a big person. I'm going to stand next to Gideon, just kind of next to your leg. I'm not trying to hide, just trying to be in close proximity.
Right, just hold on to me and I'll just be right next to you, because right now I am looking over at Zonimus.
Yeah, we're just kind of...
Eye contact, as far as we've known each other, that I'm trying to give you the message of the ball is completely and utterly in your court. We are letting you drive this ship.
If you look at Poppy, there's just so much wide trust and honesty in her eyes.
So Zonimus notices Gideon's look in just a quick glance as he does the up on one tippy toe, slides a hip onto the edge of the table, facing Wiley, still pointing down at the map, and says, yeah, there is only one way to find out, but what's your angle? You think he's just gonna fall in with you because you free him?
Wiley just kind of gives a smirk and responds with, well now, I don't know if that's something I should discuss with you, seeing as, you know, you and your friends are currently at odds with my personal goals.
You might be perceiving this wrong. We're at odds more with you than your goals. So there's room here to negotiate.
Now what have I ever done to you?
Wiley, you know you've done a lot to me, but we don't dwell on the past, do we?
I don't know. Seems to depend on you.
Well, let me ask you this. Who here knows you better than I? And I snidely glance over to this other person all dolled up in the room.
Serafina will actually just respond with a little half smirk as she's started leaning against the doorway and is just watching all of this play out. But she just, do not mind me.
I completely cut her off and keep talking. I hold up my hand and say, I'm not minding you. And I look back to Wiley and say, you show up and you free him, he's going to lash out. Okay, let's back up. We're not against your plans because we're not 100% sure what they are. We have a pretty good idea. We know the history of the man you seek, and he was just trying to bring order. Am I wrong?
Wiley just gives a little half shrug and looks over the rest of the party, makes sure to keep an eye on them, seeing what they're doing, seeing what their responses are. But he says to you, I've heard stories too. I've done some investigating of my own.
As have we. Sounds like we're all taking a page from the same book. Wink.
So what you mean to tell me is you potentially have information that I'm missing.
And you have information that we're missing.
Seems we're at an impasse.
Like I said, we're negotiating.
Well then, what's your terms? Because you know I don't like to make a deal without seeing what I'm getting.
Like I said, it's all in the past, but then again, I know you and your ways, and you know me and my ways, so you're asking for terms, and here they are. We have no intention of becoming petty henchmen in your gang. However, we wouldn't mind working together to the same ends. He was mighty and he was powerful. He was looking for peace and order in his empire.
That does actually seem to take Wiley by surprise. You do notice that moment of uncertainty where he knows that this is potentially too good to be true.
At that look, I'll say, unless you think you're going to find him and overpower him and take something from him, at which point, honestly, I got to tell you, I don't think you stand a chance based on the rumors and stories I've heard of him. Now, you're by yourself, but if you remember our last meeting, we could all be a force reckoned with. And I'm not trying to say that in a cocky way like we bested you, but I'm also not admitting defeat either. If you took the two powers that were battling it out at the Pegasi and put that together, what could you accomplish? So, the choices now are not, do you trust us and bring us in? The choices are, can you do this by yourself, or would it be much easier to bring help? I'm speaking for everyone here, but hey, Gideon.
Yeah.
Order?
Oh, that's my job, is to bring order to the Caliban. And if you're wanting to bring in law and order here, I understand it comes from a different direction, but you're basically wanting to control not only the Caliban, but as far east as you can go, all the way to the ocean, right?
And not just the frontier, we have connections in Capital City, in Venturas. We have more influence than you give us credit for.
Wiley's eyes do flick down to Poppy.
I say nothing.
I would say Gideon, you probably notice most of all. You hear almost a purr from Serafina. As you see during the conversation, her eyes have started to light up a little more. And it looks like she's listening and seriously considering what is being said.
To Serafina, if you're looking to increase your influence, we also have a dwarf here who has some pull in the dwarven clans.
And I just say, rail lines move both ways. Things come out of the city, but things can also return.
I have done many studies on the dwarven rail lines. They are fascinating pieces of technology.
And that was our original job out here, was to map this area to bring the dwarven rail lines out as far west as it could go. Can you imagine if the rail lines were going from Venturas to the castle?
Think of that partnership.
So at this time, I will need a persuasion or deception, whichever you prefer. From the three of you, pick one person.
Is there any type
One person makes the roll?
One person will make the roll.
Okay.
But they will roll at advantage. So pick between Moran, Gideon, and Zonimus.
Okay, a 1 and an 18. So 18 plus 7, 25.
Meanwhile, I'm over here while he's talking, and I'm walking my fingers across the map as he's describing where the rail line would run.
So you see a glance between Wiley and Serafina. And it's one of those glances that you can tell it's the, are you thinking what I'm thinking? Are we on the same page in this regard?
I reach up and touch his cheek and pull his face to my glance. I have a very familiar look of, yeah, it's going to be a great day.
You just get that, it causes them to tense up for a moment. And that intake of breath. And it's that, almost like it was, right at the start, the two of you He looks to you and gives a nod and just reaches up very gently to grab the side of your neck. Of course, you notice he's got those dark gloves on that he's started wearing after the two of you got together. It's that thumb stroke along the edge of your jaw, and he says, well, we've had rough patches, disagreements, but I think we can move past. I think we can build something greater. All right, Zani, you're in.
I'm looking for the implication of everyone in this room is in.
He just kind of looks around the room and looks over to Gideon. And we can let bygones be bygones, can't we, Gideon?
I have no problem with that. I've had some worse partners than you, my friend. I'm more than willing to let bygones be bygones and to work together to a common goal. So, yeah, I think we can make this work for all of us. I just have one question. When do we start?
I'm going to lean into him as I'm getting off the table real close, almost so only he can hear me, and say, let someone else showboat for a minute, you egomaniac. And I'm going to hop off the table and I'm going to walk around it as I'm pointing, saying, I assume, since you have, and I'm just going to start pointing at the map of details of you've gotten the feather. So the feather tells me you've already been to the Portal of Air, right? Which I'm assuming then, I keep walking and point to another. So, and I'm just going to start piecing this puzzle together and then let him fill in the blanks. As a response to Gideon asking him when we start, helping to bring us up to speed together thing.
Well, Zani, it's not quite as complicated as you would think. Thundercrack's a liar, and she told those 4 key guardians, oh, here, take this feather of air, take the cauldron of earth, take the other nonsense that she told them, and this is the key to this hidden portal that I need you to watch over for me. Oh no, those trinkets, you don't need those for those portals.
So the keys are a lie?
It's all for Cimarron.
I will say that's a little bit more shocking than hearing the gods are lies, or liars.
See, yeah, that's the thing, Zani. Those 4 keys, they're the 4 keys to Cimarron's prison. According to the legends, since he was so powerful and mighty, that the only way to get rid of him was to seal him away and then hide it so that nobody could find him and let him loose.
So I'm guessing you've got these 4 feathers.
Oh, it's more than feathers. The feather
Well, the 4 keys.
That's correct.
Yeah, and so your next step is to go free Cimarron.
That it is, and he taps a finger on that circled area. See, according to all our research, the most likely place where that sneaky, conniving dragon would hide that prison, an enemy that powerful, that feared, you'd keep him close. I mean, it's just like the followers of Daga have the Citadel, where they put their most ferocious criminals that they manage to keep. You keep them all in one place. You keep them close. So
Place where you can keep an eye on them. Right. So your idea is to take on Thundercrack to free Cimarron. That's quite a task. You've basically taken on what is in essence a god. Are you up for that? What kind of force are you bringing to that?
That's where, of course, Serafina comes in, and another partner that you've not quite met yet.
Right. That would be Fortunato, I guess, is the name that I heard this lovely lady say earlier. And who is Fortunato?
Well, he's been one of my biggest benefactors for the past year.
Now, I do have it on good authority that some of the gods are really unhappy with you. Some of them might even be out to get you. You don't think they'd intervene something as big as Thundercrack?
Well, that's one of the reasons I've been sending some of the boys out on certain missions. If certain ones don't come back, then, well, that's not a loss for me. Keeping only the most loyal, the most in tune with my thoughts. But we have plans. We have ideas on what to do about that Thundercrack, which could be where y'all come into the picture. I mean, as you have shown, you are mighty and powerful yourselves. I say your strength has increased in the time that we've been away. It's mighty possible that with your assistance, we can take care of Thundercrack.
I agree.
And that's where we stand.
Right.
So when does Fortunato arrive?
He'll be here tonight. We got another opportunity to make some plans and get some things figured out. We've been having a little celebration since we got our hands on that feather. That was the last thing we needed.
So this isn't his room? Moran says, looking around, and his eyes kind of drift back and forth between Wiley and Serafina.
Oh, it's one of his rooms.
He said he's arriving tonight. We saw your, I gotta say, impressive airship.
Serafina lights up.
When do you think she's gonna be ready to fly?
She is ready to fly now.
Well, I gotta say, I'm kind of impressed with what you've been able to do, and I certainly wouldn't mind taking a little trip.
How does it work? Does it work on Firestone? What's it work?
I'm going to explain everything I know about how the other flying ship worked.
Greetings and salutations, my friends. I'm Michael Cross. So great to have a moment to talk with you during this mid-show break. First off, I want to invite you all to join us as Patreon members. The money we raise helps us pay for things like the music and sound effects you hear on the show, as well as money to go to events and make new fans. When you become a Patreon member, you get our episodes 4 days early, bonus content, access to our Discord server, and full versions of our roundtable discussions. You'll be joining other fans like Scott Wise, Don Mills, Heath Mormon, and the Lady Kate. So join us right now at patreon.com/reddirtdnd. Another way to support us is by getting your very own Red Dirt merchandise. You can find things like hats, hoodies, mugs, and t-shirts. Just click on the merch tab at reddirtdnd.com or reddirtrpg.com. Since 2020, the Red Dirt D&D podcast has been close to another Oklahoma actual play Dungeons & Dragons podcast, D20 to Curtain. And me personally, I've had a chance to work on stage with some of the actors on the show. So when you get done with this episode, you should check them out.
Hello, fellow D&Ders. My name is Jerome.
I'm Jennifer. I'm Jody.
And together with our friends Kara, Timothy, and Jared, we are the cast of the D20 to Curtain podcast, where Oklahoma theater geeks and their friends hit record and explore our new addiction to Dungeons & Dragons.
We think D&D is more than just a game. It helps us tap into the enduring power of storytelling.
We combine live gameplay with behind-the-curtain episodes to share our experiences, insights, habits, discoveries, and passion for D&D with anyone who will listen.
We hope D20 to Curtain will make you laugh, cry, maybe even make your experience at your table even more satisfying. Check us out anywhere you listen to podcasts or visit us at d20tocurtain.com or at D20 to Curtain on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
We look forward to having you. All we ask is that you have fun, be kind, and play the role.
If you're looking for more content, make sure to check out our YouTube page with Mysteries of Beatrix live every Wednesday. Keys from the Golden Vault from the Red Dirt Outlaws dropping every Tuesday at noon, and Plausible Deniability every other Thursday at 7 p.m. So come check it out at youtube.com/@RedDirtRPG or search for Red Dirt RPG on YouTube. And we would love to hear from you. Find us on social media at Red Dirt RPG. You can also get in touch with us through our website at reddirtrpg.com. In the meantime, make sure and subscribe to this podcast and leave a comment on your favorite podcatcher so others can find us. All right, I think that's everything I need to tell you. Right now, let's head back to Red Dirt D&D.
So Zonimus is describing the Promise and the Forge down in Le Promise, where the ship was powered by magic created and harnessed through a flight crystal, along with the power generated by the Forge. Serafina does look impressed and says, "Oh, so you did manage to suss it out a little bit, but that was the old model.
Oh, you got a new way of doing this.
I have improved upon my father's designs, as genius as they were, and as amazing as they were, but those were the fatal flaws, were they not?"
So how does your new contraption fly?
Trade secrets.
I think it's Firestone because it's such a stable dwarven invention, and it's got to be what it is.
looking at Serafina with true interest.
No, it does not depend on Firestone.
But it's ready. You've got the power to send her up now.
Oh yes, the power source is much more stable and much more difficult to destroy.
I gotta say, I'm really impressed that you've been able to do something like this. I would love a tour of the ship. You don't even have to show us the power of the engine room or anything. I just want to see. We were far away. I would love if you...
Oh, fine, you've convinced me. Come down to my workshop.
All right.
I'm impressed you were able to do all that without getting that pretty silk dress dirty. Wiley, while I'm saying this. Just really delivering the message to Wiley that the disdain Zonimus has for this person.
So as Serafina is walking out, Gideon, you're probably walking out following her.
Oh, yeah.
Poppy, I'd imagine you're still sticking pretty close to Gideon.
I'm torn, but I know that is probably the best thing, so I will follow along with Gideon, but I give Zonimus a knowing glance. And then I'll do the thing where I look, and then I look at your pocket, and then I look back at you as if to remind you, if you need me, you got the Rocky Talkies.
So as the rest of the party's filtering out, Wiley just nudges you gently with his shoulder and just says, you ain't gotta worry about her.
I know, she's too pretty for you.
She is.
Wow, the fact that we're getting a tour of the skyship, I am super excited about that.
Look at the envelope.
Oh my god.
Yes, so while you all are headed to the lift, as Serafina is about to give you the grand tour of her workshop, Konnor, what have you been doing this whole time?
Okay, so as they first started to talk, I have lingered around the door, just kind of listening in on them, making sure everything's going according to quote-unquote plan. And as it seems as if everything is going according to said plan, you said that there was an overlook that they had been inspecting over.
Yes.
How far away is that from this door?
So the balcony that Wiley and Serafina had been standing at before they approached you. Coming out of the war room, you would swing a left to head towards that direction. And it's not too far away. You'd have to pass through that open throne room to get out onto that balcony, but that's about 50, 60 feet away.
Okay. So I think eventually I would creep over there and just see if I can peer down and see what they had been looking at. Obviously, it'd be the ship, right?
Yeah. So once you get over to that little balcony, it's a fairly kind of rough carved stone. You kind of get up a little bit, because it's a good 3 foot high. But poking your little kobold head over it and looking down, you do see this is a very large open shaft that goes all the way down to the workshop level and then all the way up to where you see it looks like just a rock ceiling, but squinting your eyes, and especially kind of in this low light, you can tell, even from this far, that there is a seam going between where there's the potential for basically this to
open up
so that you can come in and out.
Okay.
But looking down towards the workshop level, you do see where at the very end is that big ship. Obviously, it's not to the size of Le Promise. It's smaller, lighter, so potentially could be faster. It's about 30 feet long, 10 feet wide. It's going from a Spanish galleon to a cutter.
Yeah, okay.
And then you also see, to one side of the workshop, looking down, you see two of the longboat style. So it seems that Serafina has built a full ship and then the two longboats that can accompany the ship. Give me a perception to see just how much detail you can tell.
Okay.
And I know that we're not there, but the longboats, are they like kind of classic 5 feet by 15 or something?
They are actually, so they're 5 foot wide by 10 foot long.
Okay.
So pretty big. Comparable to the longboat that Jasper was working on.
Yeah. 15.
You do see kind of glinting off, the best way I can describe it is witch light. So it's not a torch, but it's these balls of magical light that are kind of floating around, giving illumination to the workspace. You see it glint off the skin of, they kind of look like dwarves.
Okay.
But their bodies look like they're made out of metal. And there's about 5 of these individuals who are working and are putting finishing touches, finishing details running all the final checks on the ship so that it's to Serafina's standard. You also notice working more in quote-unquote grunt work positions. So they're hauling cargo and getting these ships ready to take off at any time. Dragonborn. Green Dragonborn. And it's kind of weird. The movements are a little stiff, and it's almost as if there's a delay between the mind and the body. They're moving kind of stiffly as these Azers are shouting, commands at these Dragonborn. Hey, pick that up, bring that over here, kind of thing. But it's weird. You're having a hard time from this distance of telling exactly what's going on, but I would say that is something you notice, that their movements are just, there's something off about them.
Okay, and they're not shackled in any way or anything like that?
You don't notice any shackles.
Okay.
So there's no chains or anything.
Okay. Definitely odd. Okay.
Definitely odd.
And roughly how many of them are there? Are they moving back and forth coming? Again, I know we're not there, but just...
Right. So I would say you do see currently working, there are 4 Dragonborn that are kind of doing these very heavy lifting tasks. But then you do actually also see a couple of green kobolds who are using them to work more dexterous jobs in smaller spaces that would be more difficult for the Dragonborn or even the Azers to get into. That is what you see on the workshop floor. And you see there's a lot of kind of work areas, a lot of tools lying around. So they've obviously been working here for some time, and it's pretty obvious that the ships and the longboats have been what they've been working on here.
After I get all this information, about how long would it have been since we'd first entered into that workspace down below? Because I'm mainly trying to see how much longer I have on my invisibility.
So I would say it's probably been 45 minutes since you've entered the mesa, gone through that tunnel, come out that tunnel, taken the lift to the second floor, gone into the war room. The rest of the people have been distracting Wiley and Serafina, for lack of better terms, and you've been scurrying about and gathering this information.
Okay. So after I take that quick peek, I do want to start heading back to the room, but I want to say that I am actively keeping an internal clock going.
Right. An internal clock going of how long you have until the spell wears off.
Yeah.
Well, so by the time you kind of come back from going to peek over the balcony, you see Serafina coming out of the war room. You see Gideon, who's walking with her, Poppy, and then eventually Moran, Zonimus, and Wiley, who are all exiting the war room. And it looks like they're headed back towards the lift.
Okay, so I will follow after them.
Okay, so you scurry along, little kobold feet.
And then coming out of the room with Wiley, Zonimus goes back into the days of the bag and looks down the hallway and nudges with his head, like, stay close.
So,
the good old days.
Serafina was really impressed with this structure. Did this once belong to your people?
Oh, not to my people. No. This was, some of my kind were allied with the Empire.
Right.
But it was mostly a business.
But it just belonged to the Empire. Although, certainly didn't mind taking the lift if we needed to. Not quite as safe. You don't have another way of getting up and down, maybe some other stairs.
No, this is it.
Boop. Oh, goodness gracious me. Just going up and down this lift is the only way to go. Well,
unless you have the ability to fly.
No, not personally. But
Gideon, it'll be okay. I mean, look at this construction. It's incredible. Like, how did they do that? Earlier, I was noticing that there seemed to be maybe forged by fire, dug with fire or lava. We see that in the Dwarven holds way down deep, like lava-scorched tunnels and stuff. That's amazing. How did you all do that?
Oh, 'twas not me.
Well, right, but you said partnership and stuff, so surely you were directing, or not you personally, but, like you guys were helping and aiding and stuff.
We had some input into some of the designs, yes, and we engineered much of course, this lift you see. This was one of my father's projects that he did for Emperor Moran, to develop the lift technology and then to begin employing it on a grander scale than what had ever been done before.
So this isn't the only one in the whole place? You got several?
Oh, this is the only one here.
Oh, okay.
But in other strongholds, we managed to employ this and other types of automation, as we like to call it.
Continue on with this, if you will, but as Wiley and I are around the corner, we're coming up on her, still behind her, I'm gonna keep my hands down and through my bracer summon a dagger and bring it up between me and Wiley and aim it at her, but then hold it so long that if you don't throw it after a while, it disappears because of the magic, and just let it fade away. And
So have we actually gone down in the lift?
Yeah, she's doing that whole walking and talking thing. So she's very tour guide, walking and talking. You've gotten her on her thing.
I gotta say, I don't think in all our travels and all our investigating, I don't think I've ever caught your father's name.
Oh, my father, the greatest engineer ever did walk this earth, and others. My father, Gangan, he was the one who created all of this technology, and one of the greatest engineers whatever had lived. May his soul rest in peace.
And Gengen was, I guess, taught you all he knew.
Oh yes, I watched the rise of the empire at my father's knee.
I was gonna say that, you're so lovely. I couldn't help but think, well, that was 5,000 years ago.
You never ask a lady her age.
I did not ask your age.
Implying.
Oh, no, but I was kind of interested in your beauty secrets and how you've managed to stay so young and beautiful all this time.
The blood of the innocent.
Well,
2 times a day.
the blood of the innocent, that's quite a diet.
The virgin in the group just squeezes Gideon's hand.
I'm
Yeah.
joking.
Oh, well then,
It's a joke. Ha ha ha. Funny.
He was wanting some serious tips.
I was really serious about how you've managed to stay alive for 5,000 years.
Genetics.
Ah, and I still don't know what that means.
that was a joke spiel. I look at Wiley and a shrug and say, at least she's pretty.
Okay, well, I look forward to seeing this vessel of yours. How long did it take to build something like this?
She's very animated. You've gotten her on her topic that she can talk all day about.
When we
Which-
came by earlier, this hallway to the south, it was 30 feet wide or whatever. Weren't there little rooms along the edges?
Yes, and you've hit what you feel is her floor. When you were in the area above, that seemed like it was more Wiley space, just in terms of if we're on this floor, he's the one in charge, but when we're down here, this is Serafina's area of expertise, so this is where she really gets her time to shine. So as you're walking out, you have hallways on both sides. She indicates one of them is, okay, so that is storage where, we just keep the supplies for everything. And you see there are shelves along here that also have other work tools and supplies and things that's obviously been used over the last while. Oh, it took us so long. What, a good, 6-9 months to clean this place out? It had just fallen into such ruin. Ugh. Fine empire engineering just left to linger and waste for 5,000 years. Oh, it broke my heart. But through the power of hard work and a little bit of, forced labor, don't worry about it, we managed to clean this all up. Managed to reclaim the glory. Well, a little bit of the glory. Not all the glory, but a little bit of the glory. That will come later.
Some of these rooms mostly just hold your tools and the wood that you need to build. That's what these rooms are for.
Oh yes, mostly. So there is storage there. This leads to my personal office. I recommend you don't go there.
Well, I would never go in there without your permission.
And is it the one closest to the airship or the one closest to the hallway?
It's closer to the hallway leading to the lift.
Gotcha.
So you have the hallway to the east, actually pretty close to that secret door. But you have this hallway to the east that Serafina indicates leads to storage. The hallway up to the west that she indicates as leading to her personal office. And then you have this big long hallway that has the shelves along the line with further supplies, and it seems to be the things that they would use much more commonly, that they would need access to lickety-split. And then she comes to another doorway into storage. The doorway to the west, she just kind of indicates, you won't have to worry about that area unless, you do something to upset us, and then that's where we will imprison you and for the rest of your mortal lives.
Well, you got to have a place to keep the bad actors. I'm well aware of having to make sure that you've got people incarcerated if they've stepped out of line. I applaud you on your effort.
Well, thank you. we do so wish to, make sure we just keep everything above board, yes? But down here, this is the heart and soul. This is the reason why we chose here to establish the base as opposed to, any other old Empire outpost. This was one of basically, the equivalent that you may be familiar with is like a dry dock.
Well, you got a nice fleet of lifeboats here, but where do we get to see the big show?
Unfortunately, we just do not have the time nor the resources to build any of the larger ships. Do you want to take a 5-day journey to finding the lair of the infamous Thundercroc? Or would you prefer a 3-day journey?
I think it's a wonderful thing that you've built here. It's a marvel, and I'm very, very impressed that you could put something like this together. Yeah, let's take a look. I would like to see more of the interior of your great creation, Serafina.
Come along. It's to the point, she knows, Xanamus, you're trying to ruffle her feathers, so she's just doing her best to ignore you and just gets to the point where she almost grabs your arm, Gideon. And
yeah, I'd offered it. Yeah.
That's where I want her.
In the meantime, I'm just putting as much charm as I can as I've given my arm.
As we get into that open area where there might be some workers and stuff, would Moran know what an Aesir is? Would he be able to know them from history or lore?
Give me history or arcana.
Yay, my dice today rolled a 19 for a modified 23 on Arcana.
Yeah, so Moran, you have done some studies on the elemental planes, probably because of your sorcery and your connection with the earth.
Yes.
You would have probably studied at least the elemental plane of earth, and in studying that, you would have been exposed to the other planes. So yes, you do actually recognize these as being Aesirs. They are well known for beings from the plane of elemental fire.
Yeah. As we get closer, do we see that their beards are actual flame or? Yeah. Super. I'm just trying to keep it all in. Like, his enthusiasm and excitement level is truly honest. He is like, this is amazing.
Yeah, and Serafina does let go of your arm momentarily, Gideon. She comes forward and, boys, we have guests. And the Aesirs all pop to attention where they had been working and give her a salute and a greeting in Primordial. And that's when you all notice the Dragonborn and the Kobolds. It's like they're kind of fighting against it, and almost as they're being compelled to do it against their will, but come to that standing position, and they don't speak, but you notice on each of them, around their necks, it's a collar.
Red Dirt D&D Tales from the Caliban Frontier is Ash King as our Dungeon Master, Brooke Bullock as Macron Stoneshaper, Johnny Payne as Zonimus Dinar, Kiri Hester as Poppy Tealeaf, and I'm Michael Cross as Gideon Block. Our theme music was created by the cinemagician P.J. Castillo. Our incidental music comes from Jeffrey McBride. Our sound effects and additional music courtesy of Monument Studios, Andrew Sitkov, and TabletopAudio.com. We here at Red Dirt D&D could really use your help in getting the word out about us. If you like what you've heard, make sure to rate us and leave a comment. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and RedDirtDnd.com. Tell your friends about Red Dirt D&D and share us on social media. And we have new content on our YouTube and Twitch pages. Just search for Red Dirt D&D. You can also support the show at patreon.com/RedDirtDnd. We have several giving levels, including early listening to shows and access to our Discord server. Join us next time as we go deeper into the Caliban Frontier.
What are the rest of you doing?
Panicking?
Panicking is a free action. That is why I am giving you the choice, Johnny.
Okay, do you want to meta this and talk about how much power we have?
I got a +7, but it's also me rolling.
Oh, God.
He has a 6.
I have a 5.
Oh, for which one?
For both.
For both.
Did you get advantage?
So we would
You
get
did get
advantage.
advantage.
And you've got some fate chips.
And, so...
Okay,
talk about what happens when you roll?
You wanna do it?
Johnny, you've got a +5. Macron's got
has
a +7.
Okay. Are you willing to spend fate chips?
Yes. I will totally spend
I will
fate
spend
chips.
the fate chips.
Because I'll spend them all because I don't have enough for a res.
Yeah.
Or what have you, so.
I've got 6, so I can easily spend one without thinking.
Okay.
All right, Zani, you're in.
I'm looking for the implication of everyone in this room is in. No, it's Wiley. I'm not going to
Yeah,
just...
no, I'm here with
It's like,
you.
oh, Zani, I love you. You're in. Kill the rest. I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. You know?
100% supporting you.
I've had some worse partners than you, my friend. And I'm more than willing to let bygone.
Michael was giving a great speech.
It works with the power of
Love.
magic.
I was thinking the same thing. I almost said it.
There's a magical furnace that helped fuel the ship, helped propel the ship, and then of course there was the... Excuse me while the DM checks their notes.
Start throwing out nautical terms. The rudder. The
Rudder.
The starboard.
Wiley wants to turn us into a suicide squad.
The anchor.
Yeah, I remember there was a giant crystal that we had.
We still haven't come up with a name for our group. I think Suicide Squad might work.
Oh, because there's the Navi crystals, but then there's something else that I actually put a name to it.
Where's my... I don't know if I wrote, because I remember I was...
It's so crazy, it just might work. Until Fortunato shows up. Wow, I say a little bit louder than it's necessary.
The fact that we're getting a tour of the skyship, I am super excited about that.
Look at the empty hallway behind me.
Ever did walk this earth, and others.
Random name generator.
We
What
call
the hell
him
is Earth?
Tim. Oh,
He was
great
actually the second,
Tim.
so sometimes we call him Other Tim.
Yes.
No, that was his twin.
Trying to see if I actually wrote that down somewhere, but I already named him so that I don't have to rename him.
We need to call Dosha because there are no emergency stairs here.
And she
In
grabbed
case of
did you-
fire, we
did you
need to
notice
be.
she grabbed that lever and just went boop, like all the way to top, whoosh, like it just runs.
We all
just
lifted
drops
up
straight down.
slightly.
Yeah, we're all got that moment on a roller coaster where it drops away. You're like,
I think I peed a little.
You know, she's obviously so comfortable with this technology
100%.
that, like, she doesn't even look like what button she's pressing. She just taps it.
And
When
we're
people-
walking.
when people used to think that like going 25 miles an hour in a horseless carriage was like crazy fast.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now she's come through with it and she's like, "Breathe."
Here's my 60 horsepower car. Vroom.
On each of them, around their necks, it's a collar.
Yeah, that'll work.
Right, now that's what we're in.
I'm loving this bad cop group of cops who are loving the whole stuff and buying into it and eating it up and yeah.